So here we are, finally able to do Castor Wilds proper. Oh, and right off the bat I got a green Kinstone piece, very nice. So as I said before, I'm a bit conflicted on Castor Wilds. I like it, but as an area it feels very segmented, and of course when I was a kid I got lost around here a lot. So I found it tricky to navigate before. If you're paying attention it's not too bad, but even still it's a bit difficult to navigate initially, because there are just so many ways that you can't get to without stuff like tornadoes or getting across certain areas of muck. There are a lot of shortcuts to unlock, stuff like that, so traversing it can be a bit tricky. And I mean, Mount Krennel, there was a lot of stuff to do on Mount Krennel to actually get through it, but it was a bit more straightforward, you know? This, less so. And speaking of less straightforward, you do need particular items to be able to progress with this area. But we just missed one, and now we have to fight a Darknut. These guys are recurring enemies in the Zelda series, and generally they're some of the tougher opponents you can fight. This guy will block quite a few of your attacks. I believe you can dash through him, but that might end up getting you hurt. Or you can just wait for him to strike, and for a moment, yeah, you see, he doesn't move at all. But he can still block attacks even if he's just attacked you and isn't moving, so make sure not to attack him from the front. You can also parry his shots with your own shield, which is kind of amazing considering you have a tiny little shield like that, and he has a giant shield. Of course, the Cane of Pocky and the Gust Jar don't phase him at all, so don't rely on that stuff. Really, your sword is pretty much the best tool for the job at the moment. In a while we'll get a... well, not in a while as in soon in a while, I mean in quite a while, we will get an item that does help a little bit more for getting around their defenses. Not too much, but if you got good reflexes maybe. But anyway, we did obtain a gold Kinstone piece, which are always story-only Kinstone pieces. Basically, if you see a gold one, then you can only trade with it with certain statues and stuff like that, which will allow you to progress with the story. It's never used for, you know, optional stuff. On the bright side, though, story Kinstone Fusions do actually count for your overall Kinstone Fusions, so, you know, any bit counts. But anyway, let's get on with Castor Wilds. I did mention that, the area is segmented, and while I do like it, I guess I'm not exactly the biggest fan of it. I don't know. Again, it's kind of confusing, but the music, on the other hand, I love this area theme. As per usual, of course, it's nice to listen to, but at the same time, it's not exactly a creepy theme, but it's very ominous, and it suits this whole dark, foreboding swamp very well. And it is probably one of the biggest reasons why I do like Castor Wilds so much, because I'm not always huge on the area themes, but Castor Wilds is definitely one that sticks out in my mind. So here we do have a Gust Jar segment, which I think enemies spawn here eventually, but this first little journey through here, there's a whole lot of nothing other than flowers which just block your way. They're not a huge deal, they'll just stop you and make it a bit more annoying to get through the area, and oh no, a whole lot of blue bugs. I don't think I actually mentioned this earlier, but blue bugs are stronger than the red bugs, because they run around in circles a bit more and they take more hits to kill, because our higher powered sword is still taking a while to kill them, and oh, we got a bow. I'll explain the enemy thing in just a moment. The bow, of course, is a very reoccurring item in the Zelda series, and like the boomerang, it occurs so often, and I don't really care for it that much because it's kind of a boring item. I mean, it's just a bow and arrow, so it's not terribly interesting. Not like a jar that shoots wind or a cane that flips things or anything like that. But nonetheless, it is a very useful item since it can damage enemies, and in fact, we're going to need it to get through this area, of course. Now anyway, as I was saying about enemies before, the fact that the blue are more powerful than the red is kind of an inverse of the thing that usually happens in these series, in which the weakest enemies, or weakest things in general, such as Link's tunic, are generally green, the stronger ones are blue, and the strongest are red. That, of course, is based off of the rupees, which, of course, green is worth the least, then blue is worth slightly more, and red is worth the most. So that's just kind of a neat little thing. I've always liked that they kind of color coordinate anything, but yeah, the bugs there, they're kind of backwards. forget what they're called. They're, yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, they're not important at the moment anyway. These guys, on the other hand, are not actually Armoses, as the reoccurring enemies are. These are actually Igor statues, which are kind of amazing names. They take 4 hits, or 3, not counting the one you need to wake them up. It is kind of hard to hit them from the side, but if you're up or down from them, then yeah, it's pretty easy to hit them in the eye. And of course, you can only hurt them with the bow and arrows. And for getting through here, we get the second Kinstone piece we need. We need 3 of those overall, so we're already 2/3 done with that. But there is something on the other side over there, so why don't we see if we can get to that spot. And I don't think we can actually get up there, because there's some normal water up there. It's kind of confusing how the muck can actually just transition into that so well, and I missed a shortcut. Look at that rock, I completely missed that. I'll probably be back there later anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. But anyway, yes, you'd think these guys would be called Armoses, because generally the guys you have to shoot in the eyes, those are usually Armos statues, and oh, yeah, see, I missed. Despite the fact that I looked like I was supposed to hit him, it missed the eye, but it's almost impossible to miss when they're straight in front of you, so basically you always want to be vertical from them, not horizontal. And we get a dude right here which will sell us arrows, but more importantly, I believe this guy has a Kinstone Fusion. Let's see. Yes, he does. But yeah, you can get rupees for 30 so you can get arrows for 30 rupees, but I still have plenty of arrows. Plus, the Igor statues do like dropping those, so yeah, it's fairly easy to get arrows here. Not like Mount Krennel, where we are missing a whole lot of bombs by the time we were halfway through it. So that little path we've seen in Minish Woods opens up, which I believe actually has another salesman. I forget what he sells at the moment, but he is actually fairly useful when it comes to Kinstones, if I'm remembering correctly. Actually, he's so useful for Kinstones it's kind of annoying, but that'll be explained later. For the time being, we gotta continue our way through Castor Wilds. Got more of these tornado segments. Obviously don't land in the water. It's not mixing with a muck or anything, so you'll still fall right through that water. Which it's kind of weird, I was saying earlier before I think I was interrupted, how that actually works, because the muck drains into the water but it doesn't dilute it, neither does the water dilute the muck, so I do have to wonder how this works. Ah well, something video games. Wow, geez, we're getting a whole lot of arrows. So this spot is fairly, it's gonna be important to keep this one in mind. Oh, heart piece. Okay, so definitely open this up to get a heart piece, but here we actually have Swiftblade as a ghost. A ghost to add to that. Well, this is actually Swiftblade the first, but he's just so amazing that he out and out will not train with you unless you have all the Tiger Scrolls, so until we meet with Swiftblade and his brothers, we can't actually train with Ghost Man, which is a bit of a shame, because he does have a pretty good technique if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, it's going to be a while till we can actually do that. But he's pretty easy to find, so once we do actually get around to finding him again, it'll be easy to get to. So yet again, we want to destroy this marker right here. Boom, disappeared. Alright, so that's out of the way. Oh, snake just rushed me. So over there we have the area we need to go to progress, but we still don't have all 3 Kinstone pieces that we need, so we're going to keep searching. Take care of this Igor statue. You can kind of hit them when they jump if you get your timing right. And hey, what do you know, I actually hit them from the side. Good for me. So get him out of the way. There are just a few things we need to do in this area of Castor Wilds. Let's see. Over here we have the bottom section, which we can't get to without flying there, but we also have a shortcut, so that's helpful. So I believe this is where the final Kinstone piece we need is. And wow, look at that. It's hardly even guarded. The first one had a frickin' dark nut in front of it, but this one, nah, just put some snakes in front of it. It'll be fine. Ah well, now we have all 3 Kinstone pieces we need, but there is one more item here we can get to, so I think it's towards the center of Castor Wilds. Not this way, that's the wrong way. We want to go through the shortcuts. But this isn't anything that's necessary, I'd just like to pick it up while we can, because otherwise I gotta get it later, and there's not much of a point, because again, it's not a huge item. But we do have this annoying Igor statue right here, and look at that, he tries to hop after us even when he can't move. That is a terrible position for that guy. Because, of course, those brambles will hurt you if you run into them, so you don't have a lot of space to hit that guy, and he doesn't want to let himself out, which is annoying. And what do we get for all that? Well, we get a whole lot of grass, which is nice, but we also get a blue Kinstone piece. And we get likes. Go away, you stupid jerks, I hate you. The one good thing about likes is they do drop the rupee, the colored rupee rather, that they're holding or using to lure you in. So yeah, those two will always drop red rupees, green likes will always drop green rupees, and blue ones will always drop blue rupees. But it doesn't really matter that much, because I don't want to see them no matter what, because likes suck and I hate them, and I wish they'd stop existing. So here are these statues. They look kind of peevish, so we'll just use Kinstones with them. And with that, this dude gets happy. Isn't that nice? He's all happy we fused stones with him. So let's do the same for his friends, because, of course, fusing these Kinstones will destroy that block we need to progress, or the block that's in the way of our progression, to be more precise. And last one. It's all the way down here, that should be obvious, and we're good. Alright, so with that done, we're technically finished with Castor Wilds, because once we step into this area, we're actually in the Wind Ruins, which has its own theme, which is similar to Castor Wilds' theme, but I don't like it quite as much, except for one thing. I don't find it as catchy to listen to, but I do like, if you listen, there's a little da-da-da-da-da-da, a little tune like that. That's not important or anything, but I do find it kind of neat that they managed to work that in there. But anyway, this guy is actually an Armos statue. Once you touch them, and only from the front, they'll come alive and go after you. Keep that in mind, because that's the main gimmick of Wind Ruins. See, that guy right there is a bit different, because the previous guy had a little light on. This guy doesn't. That means he's deactivated, and we can't actually do anything about him. He will not come after us if we come into contact with him. But, as this Minish says, they have an on-off switch. That's very convenient. Thank you very much, Minish. You know, if Minish could turn big like I could, they could probably take over the world, because they just gave these people guardians. But they built on-off switches that only they could access. Plus, it's fairly easy to destroy these things in the first place with the former Picori blade, so really, they built guys that only they could destroy. Well, I'm sure a standard sword can probably take care of Armos statues. They're not really too bad in this game anyway, they're not a huge thing to worry about. But nonetheless, they are the main puzzle here, so I guess technically speaking we do have to worry about them. Ignore what I say because I'm speaking nonsense. So, I just want to kill these Tektites. Man, I'm getting lucky with these Kinstone pieces. But anyway, as I was about to say, in this area, however, we have to destroy all the Tektites. Because once we do, that little statue thing right there that's barring the way will just vanish in a puff of smoke. I don't know why there's an enemy kill room. I mean, I guess there's no point in which we've ever really had to sit down and kill Tektites. We could just ignore them, but I don't know, it feels kind of pointless because Tektites are easy enemies? I mean, they jump around and they're kind of annoying, but they're easy enough to kill, especially by this point. You should probably have a good bearing on how to actually kill them. Now, Levers, on the other hand, would be annoying to kill, which is kind of why I'm glad you don't have to kill them to progress. So we have yet another deactivated Armos statue here. And as I mentioned a while back, once you enter a Minish portal, everything around you resets, including the grass that will actually block your way. But we're not going there just yet, because you might have noticed these little vines here. Yes, you can actually climb down these vines. They're not just decoration. And in fact, I believe we climb the vine to the right, correct? Yep, it leads all the way over here to this little cave with all these, I think they're called pestos, which, I don't know, that's not the most apt name. I could see how they could be annoying, but they're easy to kill, so they're not that pest-like. I know enemies which are far more annoying to kill than these guys. And so, this is an easy enough piece of work to get. 2 more of those and we get a new heart piece. We've been getting quite a few heart pieces, actually. There are a fair number of them in this game. Considering the fact that there aren't that many dungeons in this game, you do get a lot of heart pieces, as opposed to other Zelda games which have a lot of dungeons, therefore a lot of heart containers, therefore fewer heart pieces. Either way, I don't think we can really do anything down there, so there's no point to the vines to the left or right, at the very least at the moment. There's probably something later on that I'm forgetting about. But anyway, now we can actually go to this area, which isn't a big deal. There is a grass patch right there which will bar the way if you didn't actually know that thing respawns no matter what, so even if you cut it down, it'll come back, but they do block your way as a Minish because they're too tall for Minish to go through, but this segment's really easy either way, so nothing you need to worry about. Touch the Armos. Also, you probably shouldn't hang out inside the Armos even to stab them, just because that might end up getting you hit. So why do I do it? Well, because I can, and I'm not really full of bright ideas either way. Ah well, shortcut, and move on. You know, I do kind of like making shortcuts in the Zelda game. Just the feeling of having a thing open forever. It's just kind of nice, you know? You open a shortcut, and even if you don't actually need to use that shortcut, it's just kind of nice. It's one of the reasons why I like Phantom Hourglass, because that game gives you a lot of shortcuts and dungeons. Once you finish a segment, you can get to a certain segment easier, and hey! Yeah, remember how I said you couldn't activate Armos from behind? Yeah, that guy just moved into place, and now he won't move at all. But here we actually have to do the reverse of what we had to do before, after we get the treasures, of course. Because we gotta grab these right now. I mean, it's a very important 50 rupees and 50 mysterious shells. But anyway, once we turn into a Minish, as I said before, the area resets, and the Armos statue goes back into place, so we can deactivate him. It is worth noting, of course, that you can't actually destroy a deactivated Armos statue, which is why we have had to transform into a Minish. Just gonna throw that out there in case you didn't notice. Now this is actually another enemy kill area. But there aren't just ropes here, there's Spiny Beetles. And as I said before, the Rock Smasher ability is so very helpful right here. But I think that's actually it for this area. We've pretty much cleared the Wind Ruins other than smashing a few rocks for some items. Next time on The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap, we enter the next dungeon.